Greetings, travelers. It's Ed Gates with the Getaway Gang with another Sunset Talks. Thanks for joining me. Today we're talking about hurricane season. Today's June 1st, and it's the official start of hurricane season. Now, even though we've just started, we already have a lot of activity already, and we've had some activity already. We've already had two named storms in the Atlantic. Both were tropical storms. No hurricanes yet, but we have one right now that might be a doozy. It just crossed over from the Pacific. It was a tropical storm there, the first named storm of the Pacific, called Tropical Storm Amanda. It crossed over, and now it's been developing as a little system. It's now Tropical Depression 3. It just formed into official tropical depression. We don't name tropical depressions. We don't name them until they get to storms, but this one's really close. In the next 24, 48 hours, it will develop into a tropical storm, which will be Tropical Storm Cristobal. And it's expected to stay around in the Bay of Campeche for the next couple days, probably about 3 or 4 days, dropping tons of rain on Central America before it moves northward into the Gulf of Mexico, where we really expect it to develop into a large system. So we'll keep an eye on that. I'll bring an update next week on soon-to-be Tropical Storm Cristobal. But since we're talking about hurricanes right now, and today's the first day of hurricane season, I've got a few tips for you. If you are traveling during hurricane season and you find yourself in an area that's about to be hit by a hurricane or a tropical storm. First things first, if you have any kind of watches or warnings in your area, keep an eye on that weather news. If it's off coast, if it's not a threat to land, it updates they do updates usually every 6 hours from the National Weather Service. If it's getting close, it's every 3 hours. Another tip, number 2, is to get travel insurance before leaving home, and make sure that travel insurance covers natural disasters like a hurricane. Check to see if you can get away easily. Can you rent a car maybe and drive out of harm's way? Can you take a bus? What is your escape route? And if you can't stay, evaluate how safe your location is. This is number 4. Evaluate how safe where you're staying right now is for a hurricane. If it's close to the seaboard, if it's made out of wood, if you're getting a lot of wind, it's probably not a safe area. You're gonna wanna find something that's brick lined, and you wanna stay away from glass and things like that too. If you're gonna stay in your hotel room, or hotel, don't stay in your hotel room. The rooms usually have large picture windows. Check with your hotel. They usually have an area where once the storm is hitting, for guests to gather in. Number 5, comply with evacuation orders. A lot of times, if you're issued an evacuation order, you might have the urge to write it out or whatever. No, if you're told to evacuate, please evacuate. Number 6, get supplies and cash before the storm hits. ATMs will be not available after the storm hits, so make sure you have cash beforehand, and don't rely on your hotel's supplies either. Get your own supplies. Get some things that you're gonna definitely need, including a battery power radio. That's number 7. Have a battery powered radio. AM radio stations usually can operate and go far distances on low power, low wattage. So if there even is an outage, if a radio station has to run on generator power, usually an AM radio station usually can get coverage to you. So make sure it has an AM band, and it's a battery powered or a wind-up radio that you can continue to use and listen to updates. Also, charge all of your electronics before that storm hits. Make sure if you have a storm coming, your cell phone is completely charged up. All of your electronics are complete. Your computers are charged up. That way, once the storm hits and the power goes out, it's going to be hours before that comes back on. Number 9, tell everybody where you are, what hotel you're in, what house, if you're staying with friends, what friend's house you are at. Give them the details, the zip codes, a phone number to reach you at, things like that. That'll be your best bet. That way people can at least tell, if you go missing, tell authorities where you were last located. Number 10, final tip. Arm yourself with a lot of patience and understanding that comfort is the last thing you should expect. So if you are gonna get hit by a hurricane, just understand you know, it's going to be uncomfortable for a few days while things get settled. Please remember these tips if you do manage to find yourself in the path of a hurricane. Take care. Have a great one.